Welcome to South Harmon. Welcome to South Harmon. Hey, welcome to South Harmon. We glad you here today. Another AMA. Ask me anything. Super chat is cool if you wanna pay to play. Like and subscribe, that's what we really appreciate. Let me introduce you to the tear down king. Mike McNutted, ask your questions, he'll answer anything. ATM, you know Adam, put them graphics on the screen. Glad you tapped in now, stay tapped in for the team. Hey, everything is posted. Go follow the socials. South Harmon FF tag us if we get noticed. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Another AMA. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back Wednesday. Hey, Adam, I'm gonna rock the Booby Miles. A little permanent answer tonight.
Okay, I can respect that too. That looks in clean.
You want to win? Put Booby in. About to spin. Well, you got the Odunze for the thumbnail.
Got it, man. I figured. I was gonna say, Mike. I figured in case there was any doubt, I would make sure that there was none after tonight. Because when I bring the jersey out, there's a awful better than not chance that things don't go as planned for that player in a bad way. So
let's go.
I'm still ready. I'm still ready. I don't know, from that game in particular, Mike. The whole offense outside of Rome looked kind of broken, frankly. But listen, the thumbnail I really wanted to do, Mike, I didn't have enough time. I wanted to put the whole meet the new Dallas Cowboys stars, meet the new stars of the Dallas Cowboys. And
it's so cold.
I got started on it, Mike, but to get it done and to do it the right way, it just didn't get done correctly. So I pivoted last minute to Rome, unfortunately.
That would have been cold as shit. I would have been here for it.
Oh, buddy, I was... Because, I don't know, the trade deadline seemed to come and go, at least on the day of, without a lot of fantasy stuff. There was obviously, the new Hopkins thing on Monday we could have went to. There was plenty of different topics, which we'll cover. But let me ask you first, your opinion on Rome this last week, and then let me go ahead and ask you. Let's start putting feet to the fire. How's your teams doing, and what are you looking to get done these next few weeks here for your teams?
Rome looked good, and like he kind of alluded to, he was about the only thing on that offense that looked good.
Fucking that offense was putrid.
So here's the thing, man. Keenan Allen really ain't done fuck all year. DJ Moore really ain't done fuck all year. DeAndre Swift has done some stuff up until this last week.
Right.
And Rome Odunze has now had 2 games total out of 9 weeks.
And those two games have been good, but then the rest of his weeks have been just so miss DJ me with Moorish. Anything. Yeah, just
that's mean. I gotta stop.
Outside, DJ Moorish is a little bit crazy, but like they're more
an asshole.
They're more Ray McLeod-ish, Oof.
Damn, without the kick return yards.
Exactly. No Scott Fishbowl.
No Scott Fishbowl. Fuck.
Not no Diddy. Joke. No Scott Fishbowl.
No Scott Fishbowl. No Scott Fishbowl. You like to see it. I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of highlights throughout the season with him running really good routes and being wide open and just not getting the football. So finally, maybe they realized we should throw them the ball. But can we stick a fork in this Shane Waldron thing? Like, I'm fucking done with him.
I'm with you on that.
The last Bears offense coordinator that pissed me off just got fired on his new team, the Raiders. So see ya, Luke Getsy.
I mean, sometimes though, all right, I will say this now as an O coordinator, it's a different story. But like sometimes I think some of these O coordinators that make a pivot to a new team, like, dude, if you're the OC for the Raiders, I mean, listen. He didn't do himself any favors, but there's nobody that could have. I mean, this whole fucking that no one's coming out of that Raiders thing alive. Like, it's just terrible out there in Vegas.
Well, I mean, he managed to make Zamir White irrelevant after a really awesome 4-game stretch last year, to finish the season.
That part I will say he definitely shouldn't take any onus for, and no one should. He just, Mike, I think with Zamir White, we talked about this plenty. he's a guy with no miles, ready to go on an offense that was just ready to run the football against a bunch of tired teams, and he had fresh ass legs. Like, let's get him ready to start the season off. Switch the number, see make you look real slim, and how's that going for you? I mean, it wasn't Getsy's fault. Zamir is cooked, but Alexander Madison, they got no talent. That's I guess the thing. They got no talent out there in Vegas.
No,
Zero.
Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers are like it.
Facts.
Jacoby Myers is like
Brock Bowers is it.
Most teams, yeah.
And Brock Bowers is legit talent. So let me not. They do have Brock Bowers, but one tight end's only going to do so much in the NFL. It's a rookie,
I do like that they thought that Brock Bowers was going to fix that whole team, though. With all the needs that they had. Fuck quarterback, fuck offensive line.
I feel like the Falcons did something similar not too long ago.
Yes, they did.
But they did end up getting 2 quarterbacks later, so I guess that helped them. Okay.
I like Rome for the long term. He's given us enough to be excited about, right? Like, he's given us moments, so it's not going to be a face plant or a rookie year at least. Thank God.
It sure is. It sure is.
Billy Gibbons.
So anyway, Mike, with Rome, I was just going to ask you, like, rest of the season, fantasy, dynasty, where are you at here? Are you putting him, is he wide receiver 2 territory for the rest of the season?
I don't know if he's going to stay consistent enough. This offense is going to be good enough to keep him there.
I'm with you.
Really?
I'm with you.
They got some fucking problems. They got some legit problems. You hope they could turn around. I mean, we've seen moments of Caleb playing really well, but most of the year has actually kind of been a struggle for him. Like, in this last week was another one. It was like, what the fuck are we doing? Then you got DJ Moore, just walking off the field. We'll all rush to his defense. That was a smart play. That way Caleb didn't throw him the football. Like, motherfucker walked off the field. Like, he chose to actively step out of bounds and then go like, yeah, I'm good. I'm going to the bench.
Yeah. DJ Moore looks like a veteran that's sick and tired of not having QB play, and then he gets his – every time he gets supposedly one that he's talked about and all excited for, it's like, I don't know. Caleb's not Jaden, okay? Like, Caleb's a rookie, and most rookies are going to be like Caleb is this year.
Struggle.
They're gonna show plenty of promise. They're going to have plenty of games where you're like, okay, Caleb's coming along, just for him to revert 1 or 2 games later and be like, what the fuck are we dealing with here? That's what rookies typically do in the NFL at the quarterback position, man. Like, sometimes expectations, I think, are a little out of line, but
yes,
DJ Moore at the same time, like, dog, you're a veteran, man. You're supposed to be the one that's, I don't know. I'm not gonna give him too much shit about it, but like,
you got that contract, man.
I think that was just human. The human element of, like, I'm so tired of this fucking shit that I've dealt with my entire career.
You think there's any part of him that wants Justin Fields back? Any part?
I kind of doubt it, but I will. But any part though, maybe.
Just a little bit, like, just sitting there. That Wolverine gif. Sitting there with the photo in bed.
Yeah.
He just got one of Justin Fields. Like, remembering last year towards the end of the season when Fields just exclusively targeted him and him alone for monster games. Like, those were good days.
I wouldn't put too. Like, I think that even DJ Moore had those really nice games with Fields, right? But like, there was still a lot of, hey, look, DJ Moore has gone missing last year too. So I think, to answer your question, I don't think so. I don't. But go ahead.
We're on the Bears so heavily here.
Yeah.
At what point do they bench Caleb Williams and go to Tyson Bagent because it gives them the best chance to win? Like, we've already seen 8 games of Caleb Williams. That's enough, right? Goodness. We should bench him and
please change the page. God, you are crazy for that one.
I'm just asking.
I love the energy, though. I love that energy out of you. Like, I was waiting for a curveball tonight, and it didn't take long. So, wouldn't it be awesome if we saw him?
No, it would not. It would just infuriate me even more. But
I'm making the point, though, Mike, to how you just said that. Can you imagine? Like, that would be the worst thing that could happen in any type of football, real life, fantasy. No, please, no. God, no. I'm good. It was a fun story for Peyton. Okay, he superseded or he exceeded his expectations. All right.
I just love it though. People act like it's a completely normal thing to happen to Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson. Like, oh, look at his completion percentage, and they're not winning it. It's a handful of games. You're fucking hitting the eject button already. Like, listen to how fucking absurd that is. Right?
I mean, I will say, to your point, like I get it. All right, but at the same time, Caleb, I feel like in a couple games this year has actually shown like some real upside. I'm not saying that they don't exist with Bryce or with A-Rich, but with Bryce at least it felt like, now the whole offense was shitty for all those weeks too, but with Bryce it felt like, dog, I haven't seen upside period since he started. Although it felt like a crazy pivot because they invested so much.
Yeah.
I think A-Rich, we can call it what it is, man. There was some unfortunate pieces of events that went down, and unfortunately, like I think they jumped the gun on that one, man. Personally, like that's just. I'm not saying they didn't do it with Bryce, but it was. I think that one's gonna look back as man, it's a journeyman. It's a fun journeyman. It's cool. Flacco's had some good moments, but like we just really pivoted to a journeyman. Like not good look for us.
Yeah, I was waiting for the Bears at the trade deadline to trade for Mitch Trubisky back, so they could get a real proven veteran in the league that's real solid, like real Andy Dalton, Joe Flacco-esque.
Oh, look at this.
Be the savior of the franchise.
I don't think that's a challenge. I hope that's just good, clean fun, but that sounds awesome.
Let's go to Dallas. Oh, it's a Philly trip, so it's in Philly. And that, because ain't nobody want to go to Dallas. Nobody wants to go to that fucking shithole. Why do I want to go watch the Eagles beat up on a JV team, Corey?
Because it's Dallas.
I might as well let's go to a preseason game next year. Be the same fun.
I mean, the only problem with it being week 17 is, at this rate, Philly.
It's going to be cold.
Well, Philly also might be. They might lock up this division by then, brother. Like, it might be the case.
There's this team in Washington.
I know. Now,
MVP quarterback.
I'm aware of them. However, what week are we at?
That's true.
I mean,
there's still plenty
of time. There's plenty of times for wheels to fall. They don't even have to fall all the way off, Mike. I mean, come on. Like,
the only thing appealing about that, really, Corey, was the Devil's Forge. Like, in all honesty.
Yeah, there's so much. You should have led with that. That would have been your.
I am fucking fiending for that stuff, man. It is so good.
I actually, what's weird? Like, get like those random cravings, like, or if you hear about like something you've had in the past, like T-Rock's Carnitas, similarly, right? Like, fuck, man, it doesn't matter when, where. Like, I could taste those things from 2022 right now. Like, it's just that Devil's Forge, man. It's like weird. It's like on the tip of my tongue right now. I can kind of taste it without just by hearing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird.
In a week or two, I'll have something new to display to you and let you know how it is.
What? There's no breaking news in that at all. That's just literally what we have. Mike's got something to show us. Just hope that it stays, YouTube approved the next time.
It will be. A guy at work showed me a TikTok of this guy who, like, he makes a shit ton of money. People just send him whiskeys and bourbons to drink, and to try. And he was trying
like my one day hope to be alter ego. Yeah, it's awesome.
Perfect career. He was trying one. It's called Bubba's Pancakes and Bacon Whiskey. So
hard to screw that up. Just like breakfast, right?
Color me fucking intrigued. He said it was fucking phenomenal. Tastes just like pancakes and bacon. So I ordered 4 bottles, and we're gonna fucking try it out.
I'll tell you one thing though, Mike. Call me crazy. That guy's got the gig. But to tell me that his gig doesn't pay the bills for those companies is absolutely asinine. Mike would have never heard of this fucking place.
Nope.
They just got an order of 4 bottles. I can imagine there's some other bloke in Iowa or some fucking where that's, 4, 6, a barrel. Let me get that. It's a fucked up, crazy world we live in, buddy. Holy shit,
well, It's kind of like Devil's Forge. I'm pretty sure Corey should get some commission on this because, like, he's created some monsters.
For sure.
I'm sitting there wondering, like, how much does a barrel of this cost, and can you ship it to my house? Can I just set it here with a tap? fill up every night.
What do you expect from Jonathan Brooks this season?
Fuck all.
I will say, Jens, you waited until the right week to actually ask. Like, I've been hearing about this Jonathan Brooks kid for, gosh, a while now, right? The combine, the draft, the off season, the preseason, training camp, all the above. Every week it feels like he's going to be, ready to go. He was How long ago was he activated? Goodness, it feels like.
This was the last week that they had, I believe, too. So it's 21 days.
To officially, right?
Yep. Before they had to IR him for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm. So I was just going to make that. Well, damn it, Mike. I fucked up the question, which means you gave me the answer I wasn't looking for, which means I fucked up the whole thing because I was looking for when he was going to be ready to go and ready to be activated, which was weeks ago. The reason that everyone's asking now is because this was the last week in which they had to either decide his season was not happening or happening. So I ruined the punchline, but the point is that it was his season's over or his season's not quite yet over. And I think that's what this means, buddy. Like, to me, I'm still very pessimistic on what type of run he's going to be getting and in the near future, frankly.
So best case scenario for me, right? Like realistic best case scenario for me is throughout the rest of the season, we see moments, we see some explosive run, right? We see a
Coop's on his own here.
That's how I roll, Coop. All right. You try something, you dive all in. Head first. You want to see a couple explosive runs. You want to see a little bit of pass catching work. You want to see some solid. It doesn't have to be spectacular. I'm not going to pencil him in as an RB1. If he has some RB2 weeks, that would be nice, right? And I think that'd be a realistic expectation. But it's a shitty offense. Chuba Hubbard's playing well. It's a very serious knee injury that he's coming off of that obviously took a fuck ton longer than a lot of people expected. I mean, a lot of people are thinking, by week 5, 6, whatever, he's fucking up and rolling at him, and that obviously wasn't the case. It took a lot longer. So you want to see something that gives you hope for the future. And, realistic outcome, best case scenario, you see a couple RB2 weeks. Yeah. Worst case scenario, he's in single-digit fantasy points or barely plays for the rest of the season, and we go into next year going like, is he even good? We think he's good, but we didn't see, like, this could turn into the Kendre Miller situation real fucking quick, couldn't it? Like, in all honesty, it really could.
I don't think quite that bad, but to your point, like, it could turn into a plus version where, okay, Kendre hasn't fucking, hopefully for Brooks, let's before we go all the way there, because I mean, again, Mike, similar to the Forge, right? Like, or the pancakes for breakfast and bourbon. If we're gonna jump in, we go all the way in. Kendre, we've seen and heard nothing from, and continues to fucking just miss. Let's hope that we see something from Brooks. Like, it would be nice to see Brooks at least start to get. To your point, the problem with this year is they're unlikely to give him the lion's share of the carries because they're not winning this year, right? Like, they want to see him look good enough to know that he's ready to go next year. I think they want to see him get NFL acclimated. They want to get him in prime shape, for tip-top shape for next year. They want to start getting that to him. But that for fantasy purposes this season, to answer this question, first of all, is still probably splitting work with fucking Chuba in an offense that isn't that good. So even if he gets 60-40, that's enough to be fucking very limp on. For me, anyway. Then to your point about going into next season with Kendre, I mean, if he suffers a setback or something, that would be, holy shit, Mike. Don't do that. People would be very unappetized by what would be coming for Brooks probably following season. I think the one thing to be excited for me personally, though, is next season, if he can just show some promise this year, because they did invest in the offensive line. Robert Hunt is a stud. I think the other best case scenario, Mike, is that Bryce Young starts to kind of turn it around. He got a little, let's say he got a little bit of a spanking, and he can get his act together and is starting to improve. because next year you want the offense to improve. Next year is supposed to be their big leap. The entire identity of this team with Canales was going to be based on Bryce Young improving. If he doesn't, who gives a fuck either? Like, I hate to say it that way, but buddy, like, what is it going to be, Dalton? What's it going to be next year if it's not Bryce?
Yeah.
Like, yuck. So, anyway, for this season, I would be very, very temperate expectations. I think a lot of people right now are kind of investing and thinking that he's going to be this home run hitting back down the stretch to really be a league winner. And I just don't think the injury in this team situation really aligns for that, as if a la like if Trey Benson was playing well for more than just, a couple snaps and ready to take the backfield from James Conner, that's a different conversation, something like that, than I think what really we have with Jonathan Brooks personally.
Yeah, I don't really envision it. I don't think it's a likely outcome for him to just come in and smash back half of the season. But, we've seen some stranger shit. I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to be wrong, and that actually happens, because that'd be fucking awesome for fantasy. You want to see those dudes do well. You're not even going to win your little league and move on to the tournament portion, because you've fucking bled points for 9 weeks already. Congratulations on your stupid selection.
You're not even going to win your little league, fucko. How's that?
That was harsh, but yeah, fuck them.
I mean, it's okay. I don't have a problem with it. Frankly, I think sometimes it's warranted. Sometimes we need to let them know, man. Let them fucking know. Okay, Mike, let me ask you this. Next question I had teed up was a super chat from Jay Jackson.
Boom.
All right, Mike. I'm trying to make a playoff push. Currently in 7th, tied with 4th. Are you sending Brooks in a 25 first for Barkley? Now, see, this is a little more my cup of tea.
There you go. It's pricey, isn't it? Pricey with the way people value Brooks, but
yeah, it is.
Saquon's kind of been that dude, ain't he?
It is, but Mike, I'll tell you what's pricey, and I'm kind of curious. This is kind of a great segue Jay just gave us to the second question I had for you. Kind of like, what are you looking to do with your teams that are either loaded or in the playoff mix? Let's call it teams that you're still actively shopping to improve. Man, I'll tell you this much, buddy. With what we're looking at right now, which is a bunch of corpses at the wide receiver position, which is, I think, it's flattening the line outside of a very select few, right? And honestly, that select few is kind of a little bit of, I don't want to call it who's list. It's the opposite of that. It's more of a look who's made it, who's. There's some names in there that we didn't expect early in the year. Terry McLaurin's one of them, right? So the running back position staying so healthy is like now. I think the market at the running back position is very different than we anticipated for purchasing at this time right now. Bringing me to the point of here. Listen, man, you can think all you want about it. 6 weeks ago, preseason. Shit don't fucking matter, man. Like, Brooks in a 25 first is expensive, but Barkley right now is Barkley.
League winner.
I mean, there's been nothing about Barkley too that to me is any type of cause for concern, dude. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to be pessimistic or shy away from Barkley, in my opinion. Like, the workload he's getting because of Sirianni is not outrageous. He's willing to fucking I get an all caps from Rob. Rob, listen, buddy. 1, I will get to your question. 2, on this point, like he's feeling like he's comfortable after a spin move to jump backwards and do a hurdle over somebody. Like, he looks about as fine gets, man. I don't know. I'm sending this. Now, the only pause for concern is really the rest of your team. Like, if my team I felt like was actually ready to go win this thing, I'm sending this. But that's the question for me on the rest of it is what's this team really looking like, Jay?
Schedule remaining. Gets the Cowboys this week. Currently 30th in run defense.
Good.
Gets the Commanders after that. They are 28th.
I'll take that. I like that matchup.
Defense. Then gets the Rams. They are 24th.
Yeah, they're not the old Aaron Donald led squad.
No. Then he gets the number 1 Ravens, so that's a little bit of a tougher one, right?
It's not playoff. It's not playoff weeks, right? That's leading up to still.
Yeah. Yep. And then he gets the Carolina Panthers, 32nd.
That would be the singular team that can give you a gaping that's just win your week.
Yep. And then we're looking at week 16 or week 15. Week 15. Okay, so you're in the playoffs. First week of the playoffs. A little bit tougher against the Steelers. Right? So maybe if you had a little pause for concern there. But the next week gets the Commanders again, then gets the Cowboys, and then gets the New York Giants. I didn't list them. They're 29th. So he's got 2 tough ones in there, one of them being the first week of the playoffs, one of them being outside of the playoffs. Everybody else is a motherfucking cakewalk, and he has been shitting on teams all year. Feels like a real good bet on league winner for your team, Jay. So while it is expensive, shit, I don't like the fact you're in 7th, but if you're tied with 4th, fuck, you make a case. Fuck it. Send away your first and Jonathan Brooks. I'd do it.
I think I'm doing it because the other thing is right now, when I think about warp in most leagues, like I think a lot of players you're going to be able to buy for a first right now, Mike. Right? They just aren't going to move the needle for me. Like they're not going to be a warp needle mover, frankly, right? Or you're going to end up buying a profile that's just so sketchy. Like it could be really nice. But are you really sending a first for like a Mooney? Yeah, he's balling his ass off, but no, come on, right? Like, I don't know. When I think about this, I'm doing it because Barkley is one of those players that if my team, let's say my team's in the 4th mix, right? A couple games away from getting a bye possibly, or right there on the precipice of it. Barkley's one of those dudes that gets me over the hump to putting me into that mix a lot of times.
Yes.
So that's the reason I would say that. Listen, I would say. I saw Harry Snowman, listen, I don't know, I always want to call him the abominable snowman for some reason, but Harry, let me just say this. If you're always really closely looking at highlight plays and then like looking real closely to see if someone's hurt, I'd tell you that you probably have a chance to find something something to be upset about or to be looking at.
I have no concerns whatsoever, too, because that play happened at the beginning of the second quarter.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Where he did that hurdle. Whatever you think about it. And then watch this motherfucker in the second half almost rip off 2 60 or 70-yard plus touchdown runs. Like,
right.
Like,
yeah.
You look just fine.
Well, I mean, my point is more so if you're watching individual plays with looking for injuries or trying to spot them, you might spot a player this time of year looking like he took a little bit of a shot, but I don't know. It doesn't mean he's hurt. Anyway,
I thought he'd look completely fine, especially after that. Especially when he almost. I mean, we were shoelace tackles away from just monster.
Y'all probably went on this topic, but I think Rome will stay too early to tell. Yeah, I mean,
boom.
David Tran. I just think that with Rome. We did kind of touch on this earlier, but I just think the problem there is that the whole offense is very inconsistent, and as long as Keenan Allen is still out there for snaps, I think it's just going to be up and down. I think he has the talent to absolutely take this and run. I just don't know that I'm banking on it being something this year. Okay, let me get to Rob. Want to get my attention? You got it. Is Lamb worth buying? If so, for how much? I mean, yeah, but. For what I'd be willing to buy probably right now, I just don't think there's any way. I don't think there's any way people are selling for that, Mike. Do you?
No. I know Christian's out there talking his good body talk about, CeeDee Lamb and Cooper Rush together. Let's just say I don't really trust Cooper Rush. So you could take the past year's statistics with those two and, do whatever you want with them. Like, give yourself as much confidence.
You telling him to shove him somewhere? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm telling him I don't give a fuck. Like, it's still Cooper Rush. He's fucking
Daniel Jones and Marv. Or, I'm sorry, or Neighbors or Cooper Rush and CD.
Fuck, give me Daniel Jones and Neighbors.
At
least Daniel Jones, when he's asked, runs the football and might get you a rushing touchdown. Cooper Rush is gonna.
I feel like if you were to make that case, Yeah, well, that's true. If you're going to make that case, though, it's like Cooper Rush should have one thing on his mind, and that's whenever 88's healthy, where is he? That's the other problem is like
I do really question all of our Trey Lance takes from the past. Like, how fucking ass is Trey Lance?
Well, here's the thing, Mike. Here's what we need. Can I tell you what we really need? I'm going to tell you what we need. We need the Cooper Rush that you're talking about, Mike. Damn it, that's the one we need. We need him so bad, Mike. We need him to be here this week in a big way. Like I want Cooper Rush to come out here, no mobility, getting just taxed in the pocket, not making good decisions, and seeding the way for let's see what this young kid even has. I still feel that way. I still feel like, what does this kid even have? Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's awful. Maybe none of us actually want to see it. I want to know. I just want to see it. Like, can I open the gift? Can I see what's in the fucking box?
I want to see it.
It could be the worst present of all time. It could be awful, but I want to see it.
It's the Cowboys, so anything's on the table. Anything's on the fucking table. I don't know.
You heard it, Jay.
Lance.
That's the Niners prodigy, Mike. It's crazy. I think.
Any Friday Night Lights fans in here? The TV series.
I'm sure there has to be.
This is like Lance from Friday Night Lights, the TV series, though. The redhead, sometimes kicks. Way too into Tyra, Like, get over it, bro. She out of your league. Ain't gonna happen for you. Just go back to bed.
I mean,
fucking Lance.
Yeah, maybe Trenton's right. Maybe Trenton's onto something. Like, let's see. Let's give him something to show up for. Trey Lance.
Maybe. Fuck it. Why not Trey Lance? I don't know. The Lamb thing I'm more like hurt. I'm a hurt lover at this point. I'm scorned.
Yeah.
This was my 101. This is the dude that you and I talked up for Scott Fishbowl. Couldn't believe that
he really Scott Fishbowled us. I mean, unfortunately, I tell you, with what I had, getting like what felt. So we're in the Scott Fishbowl, right? So it's like there's not really a prize in this thing, and this is like a charity event, right? So it's like each round passes that Rashi's on the board and not drafted. I'm like, really want to take him, but I'm like, isn't that kind of like the whole antithesis of what this is supposed to be about, Yeah. And eventually I'm like, you know what? Fuck him. I'm taking Rashi. Like, I'm taking him here, And I had running circles, laps around the league. But let's just say that those days are over, The Rashid Shaheed thing kind of goes away, right? You got
it's rough.
What else you got? CD's doing not 101 things. I took him a 101. You got a steal on him, you thought, for it not to be. The 101 in your league was A. Rich, who's doing about as much as CD, right? So
CD's actually had a game. He had a 40-pointer.
The one thing about my Scott Fishbowl, Mike, is I do have Garrett Wilson. We'll get to him in a minute. But
there you go.
That's a hell of a turnaround, huh?
Yeah, it is. Oh, my Scott Fishbowl, I got Ray McLeod and Tyrone Tracy, so we're living large.
This guy named Najee Harris, just a cone. Stinks. Let's get off my Scott Fishbowl team.
You just wait till Calvin Austin's off bye week. Couldn't play him last week, so it's gonna save my season. Okay,
sell price and buy price. What's the Chase Brown price? Let's do a little. Let's do a little. Would you rather? Why not?
This is a wild ride.
Chase Brown, fucking Mike, in a league that I really needed to win. It was gonna be close. Chase Brown made sure it wasn't, dude. Like, you know how little Chase Brown I have. You and I both, right? I'd imagine. Mm-hmm. God damn it! I mean, this motherfucker. Zach Moss is out here dead, right? Chase Brown. He might be one of the conundrums at the running back position right now. What do you do? What do you do, Iowa Michael?
I don't want to.
What do you do?
I don't want to say Khalil Herbert's going to be anything. All right. Like, can we just leave him dead and gone?
Okay.
But it would be so Bengals. It would be so fucking
I feel like what you're
Khalil
doing right
Herbert,
now
I
is bound to make Chase Brown even better because you're trying to wish ill that I don't know. Like if Khalil Herbert's the thing, I guess it would be Bengals. You're not wrong about that. I will give you that part. It would be Bengals.
This worked one other time this season already.
Okay.
When in the off season, poor Andrew, 15-year-old Andrew, didn't want to listen to me. When I told him that it was going to be Alexander Madison who made Zamir White irrelevant, lo and behold, I was right. Be so Alexander Madison to fucking do nothing last year.
Can I tell you the truth?
Raiders, it'd be somewhat relevant.
You did shit on Andrew's parade, and I'm good with that. But I'm gonna tell you the truth. It wasn't Alexander Madison. The only one that got in the way of Zamir White was fucking Zamir White's feet. He stinks. The guy, Mike, go look if you don't believe me. Madison was a little bit of a pest. Go look at all the opportunity early he got. They wanted White to be every bit of what he was in the latter part of the year, but he was frankly just not. That dude stinks. To your point though, you're not wrong. I guess okay. Let's talk about it realistically though. Chase Brown, like, where are we at, man? Where are we at? Just give it to me straight. Just give it to me straight.
I think with the Bengals still holding on to hopes of the playoffs, doing enough to kind of stay relevant.
Yeah.
No Zach Moss for the foreseeable future, and his only competition really being a guy I never really believed in Khalil Herbert. I think you got to be in on Chase Brown. Just by default, man. And he's out there and he's producing. He's doing his fucking thing. He's doing his thing. I mean, RB4 last week had him. 80% snap share.
Believe me, if there's someone that knows about it, it's me. I was there for it. It hurt. He's pointing right at me. Look at that fucker, asshole.
Fuck you, buddy. Fuck you, buddy. No, I think I'm in on Chase Brown. I'm not buying for a first, right? But
well, that begs the question. In this running back market, I feel like, okay, me personally, it feels like gone are the days of him going for a second. So,
think so?
I think so. Meaning, but I don't know that necessarily it's a second plus to the sell price. Like a second and a third. 2 seconds still feels pretty steep, but I don't know. Maybe someone's asking for 2 seconds and they want to give you a third back or some shit like that, right? Like I feel like that's the territory we're kind of getting to with Chase Brown, where it's people know they're selling what they thought was a bag of shit, or like maybe wasn't going to be the greatest. But the thing with Chase Brown always was going to be, is he going to actually get the touches? I think everybody always believed that he could be efficient and that he could be explosive. Shit, man. We're seeing that. So I feel like we're at that point of, yeah, second and a third is probably at least second. Well, let me ask you, push come to shove, would you be even considering 2 seconds and you get a third back with Chase Brown?
Yes. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I could do something like that. I could definitely do something like that. He got to remember too, he's doing this behind a fucking dog water terrible offensive line. Like, I mean, disgustingly bad. They're like Patriots level of shit at this point. I mean, there's dudes hurt left and right. They're Cleveland Browns. Oh no, they ain't that bad. They're pretty close. Close.
Mike's ready to take another shot at. I got Chase Brown pointing his finger at me. This was not by design. Okay, now he's pointing at me. I got Mike taking shots at me. I got the field taking shots at me. I got Mike even buying for the price that I didn't think he'd buy for. I got to get this guy off the screen.
I buy him. I just have such a tough time buying for a first, especially when there's a lot better long-term bets at the running back position that are going to give me pretty goddamn good production, right? That I feel a little bit. It also feels like
those are big words.
It feels like one of those Zamir White situations from last year, where it was like a guy that we were kind of, okay, we saw.
Do you think it's that much? See, okay.
Okay, so fast forward. Let's put your thinking cap on for 2025.
All right.
Is Chase Brown the fucking lead dog and getting 80% of the touches in 2025?
Well, I don't think that's ever in his range. So let's just put that
Okay,
on wax.
is he getting 60% of the touches in 2025? Is he the lead back in 2025?
I think he could be I think they could try to use him in a Gibbs type role, Mike. I'm not saying he's Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not saying he's as good as that. I'm saying I could see that scenario where it's 55-45.
Okay.
That's the way I kind of view it. I don't know if that's correct or not.
I mean,
I think they're going to bring in
fair.
another Zach Moss type. I think they're going to bring in. There's no way they're not bringing in one of those type of players. You know what I mean?
When he was getting 40% of the touches this year, he wasn't that good.
I'm saying like 55-45 his way. I think like.
Oh, so he'd still be the lead, but only.
Yeah,
okay.
like I think they want to use someone to really be more of their every down grinder, a little more of like their thumper back, right? Like a shittier version of David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, where he's the lightning version. You know, I think that's the way in which they want to deploy him.
Here's the biggest fucking problem I have, especially with projecting, with running backs specifically. Yeah. And I want people to like really.
You're not wrong about this, and this is where the warp is going to be a big problem right now, because we're looking at everyone wants to go win with running backs, but their long-term projection's fucked.
The long-term projection is normally fucked because it's a running back position and they cycle through these fucking guys.
Right.
But the one thing I definitely know is next year, I don't know how it shakes out with these running backs coming in 2025, these rookies. But as of right now, Adam, there's a list of about 15 of these fucking guys where I'm like, they're going to be a problem for somebody. That's a big fucking list. 15 running backs is a lot. Now, let's say we even settle on 8. Let's cut this thing in almost half. We settle on 8. You add 8 new running backs to the fucking mix next year. Mm-hmm. Like, and these aren't like throwaways. These aren't dudes where it's like, oh, you know, it's like Isaac Garendo where I'm like late to the party about, well, he had some moments and he's got a speed. These are fucking dudes producing in college right now that you're like, they're good. They're fucking good. And you're starting to have the question, like, who's better on the NFL level than some of these guys that are in college right now? So any running back that you're looking at that's like Chase Brown-esque, you know, Isaiah Pacheco, Brian Robinson, Bucky Irving, even my favorite, you know, Tyrone Tracy, it's like, dude, I have such a hard time projecting you out, no matter if you're young or you've shown a little bit of excitement, because right. you land like a fucking Taj Brooks from Texas Tech, who, by the way, scored the game-winning touchdown against Iowa State, so he's forever a legend for me. But, I mean, that's a dude that's, you know, 6 foot, 220 pounds, and he probably runs a 4.5 and is fucking producing out the ass. You land a running back like that in the 3rd or 4th round next year, it's like, what are we going to do with Chase Brown? Like, I like Chase Brown coming out, but I can be completely honest that Taj Brooks, is a better fucking running back prospect and probably a better player than Chase Brown. So, yeah. It's real fucking tough with these kind of guys.
Now you make a good point, but okay, here's my only pivot with this would be, or like counterpoint with it would be, if you're the Bengals, I mean, you're fucking so dumb. You don't even pay your chosen Jamar Chase, right? Like handpicked Joe Burrow, you had to pay him. His guy, you pay Chase. Outside of that, this is a team that's pretty like hamstrung, let's call it, with fucking finances, just period. I think they're probably in a better position. They're probably smarter to just pay Zach Moss turd type in fucking free agency. Like, give him a year, give him nothing. Invest your rookie draft picks into positional players that like you need to build around, because you're not going to pay some guys. They're going like this team is going to let players walk that normally you wouldn't see let walk. Right, like that's just gonna continue to happen. So that's I guess if you're looking at it from the rosy outlook, I don't even know how rosy this really is though. I guess I'm calling this rosy, but like they don't draft a kid, right? Chase Brown comes in because they do still have him as your rookie for another 2-year contract of him being on a rookie deal. You bring in Zach Moss again. You bring in whoever that type of player is, and you ride the wheels on fucking Chase Brown. I think that's very much in the range of outcomes, but my problem is there. I'm like, what does that actually end up being? We have yet to see Chase Brown given the lion's share of the work hardly at all, let alone for a sustained amount of time, like we talked about with Zamir White.
I got to emphasize this just a little bit more with the 25 class. Like,
Go ahead,
in
yeah.
reality, I love using this site, NFLDraftBuzz.com. Go check it out. Listen, the rankings aren't always 1,000% correct, and I'm going to have a lot of stuff that I'll disagree with. But currently, Adam, I just pulled up the 2025 running back class.
Yeah.
Damian Martinez, who's now really starting to come on for Miami, is their 25th ranked running back in this class. Like, and I looked at all the dudes above him, and I'm like, I get it. I get it. But
Sure.
think about that. Like, Damian Martinez, 6 foot, 225 pounds, probably a 4-5 guy, playing on the number 4 team in the nation right now. High-powered offense. Looking good. Looking real good. Trevor Etienne, 31st. 31st. He's starting to come on and have some big games.
Sure.
RJ Harvey at UCF, who's having a really, really good fucking season.
Nice little season, for sure.
36, Jarquez Hunter, 33rd.
I mean, some of these guys will go cone out, though. Just, you're not wrong. Some of these guys will go cone out at the combine. They're not all going to make it. But you're not wrong. This is a deep running back class.
It's fucking Katron Allen, who I love, who arguably outplays Nick Singleton at times and has for the last couple years. Nick Singleton, by the way, is only the 10th ranked running back in this class by them. Katron Allen's at like 29, Adam. I'm like, holy fuck. It is just name after name after name after name after name.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what is truly terrifying because, like you said, some of these guys are going to phase themselves out when they run a 4.7. You know what I mean? Some of these guys
like
are
Audric Estime we thought did, except for he did.
Some of these guys are going to phase themselves out like when people really start breaking down the film and you figure out they're like Trey Benson and they just run into the back of their fucking guard on every play. And they can't find a hole. Like that shit is definitely going to happen, Adam. But you're also going to have a couple of these guys that ain't even on this list that didn't even make, top 40, top 50, where you're like, fuck, that dude's really actually, okay. Freshman year he had it, but then he had some injuries or whatever. There's going to be a story that teams are going to tell him. And the other thing is, not all these dudes are just going to be like clear cut, okay, this is a first-round pick, this guy's a second-round pick, so on and so forth. You're going to have some of these Tyrone Tracy's with like 5th-round draft capital that are good fucking players, that are good names at the running back position. And even for a team like the Bengals who make like fucked up situations, like they should use their draft capital on this. I could see him using something like a 5th or a 6th-round pick and getting a Katron Allen, and all of a sudden I'm like, Katron Allen or Chase Brown? Fuck. Like I don't know who's gonna get what here. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, Katron Allen's leading this backfield on the dirt sheet, and Chase Brown's an afterthought. So you got to weigh like what is he doing right now versus his long-term potential. So when you start talking like, oh, maybe you send a first, that's where I just kind of give the cutoff, because I think you can get other producers out there that, maybe have a little bit more long-term security than Chase Brown. You don't have to actually chase Chase Brown. Punny. Mic drop.
Well, it's funny. I'm over here trying my best to let Mike rant, and it's interesting the choice of player that you used, because I'm trying to be in my bag as best I can over here, and the timing I feel like is about as impeccable as ever. So let's go ahead and let's try it. Let's try it. Well, maybe again we're working. We are. I didn't say we're doing the best job, but Mike, Tyrone Tracy's getting ready to come up on the screen. So Tyrone Tracy right now, or Chase Brown.
Same picture.
Which one you want?
I'm gonna lean with the former Iowa guy just because I'm a homer,
Okay.
And I got the love for Tracy. But if you pick Chase Brown, or the overwhelming majority wanted Chase Brown, I get it. Better offense, at least you can say that.
Yeah.
More scoring opportunity.
I think I would take Chase Brown there. It's just interesting because I don't know. It's close enough, Mike, to where, man, are we sure though? Because Keep Trade Cut says they'd rather have Tyrone Tracy right now.
And I'll be the Tyrone Tracy, defendant here on it. It surprised me too. He took a guy in Devin Singletary who they deep-throated through that whole entire Hard Knocks off-season series about this is going to be our fucking Saquon Barkley replacement. We don't need Saquon because we're going to get Motor Singletary. They even gave him a nickname that didn't even fucking exist until that show. Like, fuck
Sure.
you for that first, by the way. But he took that guy who played well in the first couple weeks and then got hurt. And you're like, okay, well, when Singletary comes back, this will probably be a split. Tracy's earned some work. And Devin Singletary is going to go back to being the lead dog. Singletary went to being fucking irrelevant. And I'm going like, it's the Tyrone Tracy show. We don't give a shit that we nicknamed you Motor. You can motor your ass to the bench.
Motor your way up out of here. Yeah, for sure.
It's the Tyrone Tracy show. So that's my defense for him. Is like, even I, as the biggest Tyrone Tracy truther out there, didn't see that shit coming. Didn't see that shit coming at all. So if you want to plant your flag on Tyrone Tracy, cool. Let's go. Let's hop on the bandwagon.
Yeah, we barely got a chance to even try to.
Got him. There
all
it
right. Mike, let me ask you this, though, because with Tyrone Tracy, I think I can give you a bunch of other players I'm getting ready to try to pull up here, like Bucky Irving. J.K. Dobbins and Swift are in this list, I feel like a little bit wrongly.
Yep.
But a lot of the names that we get down here, Mike, by the way, Braylon Allen has I haven't made them all correct, okay? I've made plenty of misses, but Braylon Allen is one that we can celebrate. Down to where he's supposed to be, running back 31. He's almost a running back 2 on his own team again, It just feels like this is kind of the appropriate range for a guy like Chase Brown, which is when you're buying a Chase Brown, it begs the question, is it worth spending up for? What is the extra to go get Monty? What is the extra to go get Mixon? What is the extra to go get James Cook? What is the extra to go get Kamara? Like that I think is the reality of the situation with the Chase Brown. With selling him, it makes sense because sure, like the good things can happen. Chase Brown can end up being the lead back next year, 55, 60%. It could all work out for him. But the odds are not in his favor. So if you're selling on Chase Brown, I think if you can get 2 seconds, he should be gone tomorrow. He should be gone this fucking second right now, personally, for me. And maybe that's light for some people, but I just don't think a first is realistic to try to get all the time. Listen, if you can get a first, I'm not telling you don't take it. I'm just saying I don't think it's. How many people are lining up? Let me ask them the questions. You guys ask us all the questions. Let me ask you guys. How many of you are lining up to fucking pay a first for Chase Brown right now? Someone tell me. Someone tell me I'm crazy. I'm not doing it.
I mean, anybody coming asking me for a first for Chase Brown is, I use a big word here for you, persona non grata. Like that?
This dude.
Educated people.
I done been educated by the state of Iowa.
Let's go Hawks.
That sounds very much like a cyclonism, but I will stay far away from
that's way too big of a word for them.
But if they tried, they would 100% butcher it and screw it up. So I'm with you.
All they know is Bush lattes and farming.
Would you? But
and fucking pigs.
Would you even? Sheesh. Okay. Would you even pay 2 seconds without the third coming back for Chase Brown?
No. I need that piece back. I need that third so I can go buy a spot start later in the season.
Right. So you can buy buy a fucking. I don't know. It won't be a Tyrone Tracy name, excited name, right?
But it'll be. Slemno was fucking cultured, Like I thought he travels the world and lives in Tokyo and potatoes all gratin.
Buddy. Listen, I like Slemmo as much as the rest of us. Actually, I don't even know if I should say that. I think I like Slemmo sometimes more than the rest of us, but yeah, that was you're giving him a little too much credit there, I love Slemmo to death. I used to, prior to having 2 kids and just like the days of being up at like 5 a.m. fucking around, they feel like that feels like yester lifetime. But I loved when that was the case. Kind of in the Discord, fucking around, doing team reviews that were turned into La La Land. And then all of a sudden, Slemmo's there because the time change is so drastic. And he's like, hey, good morning. Speaking of bourbon, see, Mike has bourbon and the breakfast bourbon coming. He was just having breakfast, no bourbon, and he's like, "Let me get a team review too," and I did it for him. And I have no idea. I take no responsibility for any of those team reviews at 5 a.m. fucked up, for the record, because there's no way.
They're probably the best ones.
They could have
Probably
been.
the best.
That's true. That's actually true. All right, miss you, Slimmo. I don't know, Mike. I'm good on Chase Brown, because the reason I say that is because, okay, if I'm at that point, I do probably have to be choosy because there's only so many names, right? But and a lot of them are going to be on contenders. It's just the way it works. But can't I find a way to thread the needle on which one of these guys can be had that's in a position to be more secure next season than Chase Brown, and give me some of that insane electricity for this year too?
Yes. Yeah. That's what I want to do. That's the play.
I feel
Some
like
leagues, though, won't let you do it. Like, there's no opportunity there, but you got to at least explore. Like, really, what's the difference between paying for Chase Brown or Christian McCaffrey? Like, whoever's holding CMC at this point probably ain't doing very fucking well anyways. And they're like, okay, I'm about ready to wave the white flag. You'd be devastated if you paid 2 seconds for Chase Brown and the cost for CMC was actually just one late first. And you're like, oh, motherfucker.
even a first and a second, right?
And I'm like, fuck. Fuck, I would have rather thrown the dart at that one. Like, I really would have. Because the upside, if I'm right, is so great. But the downside risk is the exact same if you're wrong on both of them. So who gives a shit?
Yeah. All right. Let's do that. Let's talk about that. Christian McCaffrey, Mike. What are we doing, my friend?
Dude. Why not?
You're
Why
in a
not throw your
position.
fucking
You're in a
dart at
position.
everything?
Wait. Say it again.
Why not throw your dart if you're a contender right now? Why not?
I'm all ears. I will give you my 2 cents too. I'm kind of curious where you're at on this, just from the standpoint of, like, I don't know. It's at this point, it's risky. But oh man, I wish I could put a clip up right now. Have you seen that old man? It's all risky. Wait till you get the bill for not being risky. You know, I gotta find this. I'll put it in the Big Meat, Big Drink. It's awesome. It basically, he's saying, like, if you don't want to be risky in life, you're gonna get fucking the most boring, dumb life that gives you no upside. And basically, the bill for not being risky is, a boring life that nobody cares about, right? You have to put some risk into the game. If you want a chance to win your league, you're gonna have to take a risk at some point, right? This is scary, risky. Fuck yeah. But buddy, you're talking about riding a half a season now with the guy that's been hopefully resting and getting better. Where are you at, though? Give me Mike's. I wanted to give yours. Have you give yours first, but
balls deep.
Really?
Balls deep.
Okay.
I will jump on that risk train all day.
Okay.
And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It happens. But if I'm right,
Mm-hmm.
I'm fucking walking my way into a championship, and there ain't nothing you can fucking do about it. Nothing.
Well, there is. Sit there and fucking watch, pal. Like, it's
you sit there and take it.
It's that type
all
of
6 inches.
It's that type of
All 6 inches.
If McNutt gave it to you 6, maybe. For McCaffrey, I think he'd give you a nice,
Oh, he's probably got a hammer.
Well, that wasn't where I was going, but what it would feel like. Good night.
He's got a hammer, guaranteed. It's like battle from longest yard.
See, where's that? Let's get a good look at that cup. Let's get a good look at that cup. Oh yeah, we're getting close. We are getting close. Good night.
I may have had
172 people in here. How many of them are looking like, what the fuck is going on here?
It's par for the course, buddy.
Sure. I'm just saying, in my mind, let me have my excitement when I'm thinking, like, maybe there's 20, 30, 40 people never been in here before. 5 people even. Like, thinking, what in the Sam hell am I watching right now?
I did see somebody, I think it was on the trade show, or maybe the recap, somebody commented, Does he really need to say the F word?
Oh yeah, I saw it. He's talking like a
Grow
kid
up,
that just
buddy,
learned
whatever.
that he's talking like a kid that just learned how to cuss. I
Obviously
will
doesn't
admit,
know.
like that shit was funny. That shit was funny now. But you haven't been around to see how he didn't just learn to cuss, but this is what he does. Yeah. Welcome
right.
to the show.
So I have to teach a safety course at some point.
You see, I'm not going down this path of what I was going to tell you about my friend. Like, how do they assign? Like, where in the world did life go wrong for this to be a thing? Mike teaching a safety course. Just stop it.
I have no fucking idea, but it's a terrible fucking decision. I gotta get up there and be all professional. Like, good luck. What do you think? Over under on like an hour safety course? How many F-bombs I let out? 7?
All right, peace.
Yours think. Deuces.
Senor, I hope you stay around, man, because we're just getting started, buddy. You know.
Welcome to South Harmon. I'm glad you're here today. Holy shit. All
right, Mike teaching a safety course. We could let's pivot back to CMC in some capacity. Where would you put him right now as far as like running backs? So you're in your league. You're acquiring the running back position. You need something there. Okay. Let's do a would you rather. Joe Mixon or CMC?
Mixon, because he's playing, and I know what he's given right now.
Well, I mean, as far as all the reports go, now granted, this was the same thing that was told to me on Monday Night Football when I started him in week 1 and somehow won, you know. He's playing this week, okay? Montgomery or DMAT or CMC?
Let me go with CMC here. That'd be my first pivot.
I'm with you.
Call me a Monty hater or whatever, but I don't think the upside for Monty is near what CMC's could be.
It's funny because in redraft, I'm basically there's a team that's loaded that has Monty and is trying to come get my CMC, and we're not. We haven't made a deal because we haven't made a deal because like I'm willing to make the pivot, but it's going to cost you. For me personally, I believe that I need some depth. I've had some injuries, but like Monty is a safe player. CMC has fucking immense upside, dude. What's that?
You've had an injury for 9 weeks in CMC that you've held this long.
Well, that's the other point.
He's about to come back. You want me to get off for David fucking Montgomery? No.
Sure. You want to send me some fucking, let's get some Matty Stafford and some Superflex. Let's get some, let's open up the cheeks. You want to open up the cheeks? We're ready. Otherwise, I'll sit back. Anyway. Yeah, okay. What about Alvin Kamara?
Oh, Kamara, easily.
Okay. By how much though?
Quite a bit, because I know what Kamara is, and I definitely know what Kamara is with Derek Carr at the helm.
What I'm worried about, can I tell you what I'm worried about with Kamara? Which is if there's something to be worried about, okay? You and I are probably going to be higher on Kamara than 95% of people. I told Tony to go ahead and trade Nico straight up for Kamara. I don't give a fuck. Like, it sounds crazy, but in a redraft league, yeah, hell yeah.
Okay.
We don't know what Nico's situation is, like when he's back, how healthy he is. All I know about Kamara is he eats, right? Point is, with that, Mike, is like, dog, my only situational fear for Kamara is I feel like we're getting ready to go to a Saints territory where I don't know what the Saints are. That's my only fear.
Yeah, okay.
Like, do they keep... I know it sounds crazy, but like, similarly to Winston, do they keep Carr out there this whole time? Are they trotting out Derek Carr when they're fucking 2-9? When they're 2-10? Like, this whole... Everybody that has a pulse seems to want Derek Carr out of the lineup while their current record is what it is.
And they just got rid of the guy who loved him to death.
That's my point. They are finally, it looks like, we did not start the season looking like this, but it finally looks like they're at a point of fuck. All that credit card debt, all that debt you got piled up, you're looking around like, holy shit, what do we do now? Like, you've been playing this little game of, the interest is just numbers. It doesn't matter because you're just going for it. But like they might have just hit the fucking, oh shit, we got to figure out, we got to come to terms with reality. And that's my concern with Kamara. But I'm not saying that you should take CMC over Kamara straight up.
Yeah.
But I'm saying with Kamara, that's my concern is like, what happens then? Like, what's the quarterback? Do we get Taysom Hill again? Does some fucking idiot put Taysom Hill back there? Does somebody give us more Spencer Rattler? Like, what do we see?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible, you know. I'm not saying it's impossible. When I look at that Derek Carr contract, I go, I don't know how you do that at all, because you're going to have to roster him, right?
Well,
he's going
the
to have
same
to
way
be
that the
on
Browns have to do it with Deshaun Watson. That's exactly fucking how.
Which I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but 2025, when that Achilles is healed, Deshaun Watson's starting quarterback for Cleveland. Like, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I just want to prepare you for the inevitable truth. Like, you're gonna have to deal with it again. So with the Saints, maybe it's the same thing, just not to that extreme, because the Watson thing's even 10 times worse than the Derek Carr.
The Browns own the contract, and they said all they needed to say was exactly what I heard. We will address that situation next year when we need to. That was the music to my ears, Mike, because that means that they are so aware that there's a chance that Watson is fucking just cut and you just cut bait. Like, both of these guys are realistically the same thing. Like, I'm telling you, obviously the Watson one hurts a lot worse, but whether he's on your team or not, he's not your quarterback for the future or for now. They just suck. They're just dead money. It's time to move on. Now, if you want to go down the path of like, all right, we paid this. Do you want to spend good time after bad chasing? Like, right. If you know something's dead, if you know this is going nowhere fast, don't you just get the divorce and like, here, you take what you take, I take what I take. We just, fuck yeah.
Well, that's what you should do.
Right. No, I'm saying that's what. No, I'm saying that's what
I do.
That's fair. Now,
I ride that bitch out for 5-6 years and just be miserable for a while. Keep coming back to get kicked in the teeth.
That's kind of sad, but
it's the truth.
I don't think you're alone with that.
Fuck it. Might as well sit here and be miserable.
Would you do CeeDee Lamb for CMC straight up? I'm taking CeeDee Lamb in a hurry.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb pretty easily.
Would you take CMC in a first or CeeDee Lamb?
So Dynasty, this is always going to be CeeDee Lamb. And Dynasty with a first, even on the CMC side, it's still going to be CeeDee Lamb.
That's where I'm at too. So I just want to make sure. I'm just checking sanity. I always check Mike's sanity a little bit when the cup starts to bleed low. But let's do it.
If this is redraft, I think this might be a realistic question.
Sure. Yeah, I would agree.
This is redraft, straight up. You wanted to do it?
Okay.
Rest of the season?
But let's Dynasty this out, because the truth is Dynasty's getting played a lot more like redraft, Mike. Now, I'm not telling you should do it straight up in Dynasty, but I'm saying, let's say you're a team that's in the position to win. You got to buy. You're looking at a fucking buy. Are you holding that CeeDee Lamb on your situation right now? You keep holding that, or are you saying like, fuck, man, it's tempting to see what I could do to go get CMC,
It is tempting. It's tempting to see what that down to. I don't know if just a playoff first is enough,
to go
like a mid first is even enough.
I think
I gotta get something, and I'm thinking. Listen, me and Maddie just recorded a video. There's a certain player I was championing for, but CMC and Zay Flowers.
Yeah, but I think I would do that. I think here's the truth. Like, right now, when you're in... These are the uncomfortable moments in Dynasty. I don't know how many people we actually still have in here. Hopefully a lot. Because, like, these are the uncomfortable moments in Dynasty. What I hate seeing is, in general, during the season, views start to go down across a lot of different channels, right? It's just the way it is. People kind of get, consumption, overload, fatigue. And let's just call it what it is, Mike. Straight up, you get also the quitters, man. Listen, over here, spitters, no quitters, man. That's the way we roll over here. We ain't quitting, Fuck that. We're spitting.
Spitters, no quitters. Oh!
No, man. We get so many. How many people you think right now just don't fucking? They've tapped out. They're two or three teams are fucking done, and they're fucking.
We call those casuals.
Yeah, they're spitting. They're running the fucking sink and they're fucking spitting. They're done. They're quitting. It's over.
You swallow that like a champ. All right.
It's time to fucking swallow your pride and get fucking back to, finding a way to make this work. And this is the shit I'm talking about, though, because
this is exactly why I would do very well in prison. I would be very popular.
You would
never spits.
You being popular, I think is true. You doing well in prison, those things I don't think have to go hand in hand. I would
have so many friends. I'd have so many friends.
We'll talk about this some other time.
Friends. I'd get all kinds of tats, prison tats.
Speaking of this, though, you're kind of in a situation, though, if you have we just did a team review, Eric and I did, where the guy had Ayuk, Diggs, and CeeDee Lamb now, Mike, right? It's like, but you're in first place. There's plenty of teams like this. You got a chance to go get CMC. Like, you're not in position 101, meaning just because you're in 101 for the playoffs, you're not in position 101. Shout out to 04 Pistons, by the way. 04 Pistons were dope until LeBron came for that ass a couple years later. But listen, man, like, what are you going to do? You got to make a pivot to try to keep this thing going, right? You have the league by the balls. You going to piss the season away to hold CeeDee Lamb, to hold Diggs, to hold Ayuk for next year? Like, it's time to fucking make some uncomfortable ass pivots. Like that's I think that in general, this type of time of year. I've been a part of teams, Mike. I've had teams, you probably can remember some, where I should have pushed more of my liquidity in, more of my injured players away. What Drake say? Speaking of Matty Keeblum, I know he's a big Drake guy. All that hype ain't the same next year. Get it while you're here, Like,
he's still alive, Drake?
Matty? I was getting worried.
No, Matty's definitely alive. I know Matty's alive. Drake.
I don't know. Is he?
Is he still doing his thing? I had no idea.
Well, this is like a 2011 song, but anyway, let's keep it on tracks.
Okay.
Of Mike, you got to make an uncomfortable pivot. I think if you have a CeeDee Lamb here and you have a bunch of injuries, like, would you? Zay Flowers and CMC seems easy though, like, because they're both producing. Zay Flowers is smashing right now, right? Like, it feels that feels like an easy ass pivot. Now, what if you couldn't get Zay? What if you had to go further down? Let's think about either a pick or a player, or a pick that you're going to pivot into a player in this range. Josh Downs.
No.
It's crazy how quick the wide receiver gap is nuts, Mike. The difference between Zay Flowers and Josh Downs is not as far down the list as you might think. Okay.
It should be.
Well, everyone's just died, Mike. It's just there's not that many. Terry McLaurin.
I did see Rashee Rice still ranked above Zay Flowers on Keep Trade Cut. I have no idea why. Like,
Terry
how
McLaurin.
Does that become fucking Terry McLaurin? Easy fucking
Terry McLaurin and CMC? Yeah. That's a pivot, Mike, I think you could actually get done. Yes. Don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, what about
contender right there?
Let's get a little bit grosser. How about Tank Dell? Right below Terry by one spot.
Not a fucking chance.
Deebo Samuel.
Nope. Debo's been playing like ass too.
Jordan Addison.
Nope. Definitely not. Overrated as fuck. Wow, I like it. I'm coming quick and hot with these.
Michael Pittman.
No, definitely not. And I was the biggest Michael Pittman fan of the offseason.
Xavier Leggett.
No, who?
All right, let me give you the grossest, but a pivot that should warrant more consideration than you're going to give it. Darnell Mooney.
Hey, it's not bad, but you should get more.
I'm not saying you shouldn't, but that's a pivot that feels horrible, doesn't it? It does. I'm not actually advocating that you should, but Mike, if you're in a position to win right now, I'm sitting there thinking. I'm at least thinking. Like, all right, what else do you have to throw my way? Can you give me some other fucking bone?
Right.
Right. You got to play in the land where we're in. We got to play fucking make believe. This is what it is, buddy.
That ain't the worst. I like where your head's at because that's a contender move. That's the contender move that gets done 100 times out of 100 times, just like that. And people go, "You're fucking insane."
What a fucking idiot, Darnell Mooney.
Yes.
When's the last time Darnell Mooney had a down week? Let alone didn't pop. Jeez almighty.
I don't know.
All right. Point. We kind of. People's teams aren't making the playoffs. They drop out of everything fantasy. Yeah. No, 100%. Adam's right. And I mean, that's fine. My only point is I wish there was more people that tapped in at about this point of the year, because Mike, when you're talking about all this stuff in the offseason, the reason I brought that up more than anything, like the views are what they are. I don't care about that more. So I'm talking about when people are going to be tapping into stuff in the offseason and the preseason and the early part of the season. These are the conversations that are super important for Dynasty gamers. And
yes,
you can't even have the conversation really without context of right now. You know what I mean? So like you just keep missing the important part of the fucking discussion year in and year out when you do this to yourself.
So it does happen.
That's my point.
It does happen in redraft way more often than it does in Dynasty, but it still happens in Dynasty where people are out of it, so they just tap out and they go, I'm gone. I will say this. The people who do that in Dynasty, you know, they're pretty fucking high. It's way over 6.5.
Well done, Dirty Bird.
Bet the over. It's way over 6.5. The people who do that in Dynasty, I always kind of chuckle at, you know, when they don't respond to trade offers and they're not grinding the waiver wire still, and they're not, you know, really out there trying to make their team that's already dog shit better for the future. They're missing out on a lot of opportunity, and that's probably why I like Dynasty, because it does still give you that incentive. Like some of the most impressive shit I've seen go down this week as far as trade goes is dudes picking up Cooper Rush, you know, off of waiver wires, and then immediately flipping this fucking guy for a 3rd round pick to some contender.
We call that
that's
magic.
A dude out there. That's
Magic Man and El Diablo, buddy.
Exactly.
Fucking bam.
You know,
Make shit happen.
They go out and they spend like, you know, 25% of their budget on Cooper Rush, and then they flip them for a random 3rd. You know, it doesn't even have to be in 25. It might be in 26, and I'm like,
I knew you were my prince. You're always my prince. You know?
That's a dude who's out there fucking grinding his ass off and making things happen. And that's a good Dynasty manager. You know, like that's like, how much would you pay for a 3rd round draft pick if it was on the waiver wire right now? Way more than 25% of your budget. So bravo to you, buddy. Bravo to you. Like that's the kind of shit I love to see. It's the ones who are out there like they haven't been around for 2 weeks because they haven't, you know, won more than 2 games all year. They don't even set lineups. I'm like, why even play Dynasty then, man? Just go to redraft. Just go to your seasonal league, and when you're out of it, then, you know, fuck off into the abyss.
No, well, I mean, I think in general that's one of the points too. But like, there's a lot of things that happen, and in particular, what I was talking about. And let me just finish the question answer. Like, no, don't do this straight up. If you're getting CeeDee Lamb, by all fucking means, let somebody have their contending shot. Absolutely. Like, if you held on to CMC and this was gifted to you, don't fucking miss out on this opportunity. Outside of that, please don't do this. Like, no, it's not straight up. It's a first. It's a player that's producing like a first to even get to a conversation. Okay. What are y'all doing with players like Waddle and Higgins, a.k.a. the Glass Brother? I mean,
Glass Brother.
I love this. I'll tell you, Jay, if you've been tuned into this channel for a while, which super chats are here, I appreciate it. I'll give you another little bit of love here just for being here and let you know where I've been on Waddle. Not as much on Higgins, but more recently on Higgins. These guys have been sells for me for a while. I think, can I tell you the truth, Mike? I think we're at the point for me where I'm starting to get like, if I actually, you have to know when to hold them, when to fold them, right? If I have a team that's really legit, top 3 team, let's call it, very much in the buy consideration, I'm probably pivoting for Mooney and fucking any type of turd type piece back. Like I'm ready. I'm ready to go contend. Like because the reason I say that, Mike, is because I've already exhausted, if I have them. Like, I've already exhausted every option to pivot out of fucking Waddle and Higgins. You know what I'm getting? A big fucking shaft. No one's paying anything for him, right? So what are you doing? Like, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm to the point of, if they're holding my team back from actually contending, I'm getting ready to make a gross purchase.
I like that Jay lumped them both together, because if you just asked the Waddle thing, I'd be sitting here laughing, being like, yeah, Adam and I were lockstep on this. We told you he was an overvalued fucking turd burger that you should have sold a long time ago when he was ranked wide receiver 13 or whatever the fuck it was. Like obvious sell. Rank him down closer to the 30s. That's where he should have been. Boom week upside. Fancy fucking Tyler Lockett without the production. Then he had to go and he had to throw T. Higgins, my boy, in there. And listen, as this shit keeps going on with this quad, or is it a
we
quad?
Try, Big Tonka. We try. Sometimes we don't answer as many as we'd like to. Okay.
Whatever the fuck's going on with this quad at this point, I'm sitting here with more shit on my face, being this T. Higgins truther that I am. And it's getting harder and harder and harder, and I look more and more like an asshole. The only thing I will say between the two that makes me feel good, and there's no reason they should be ranked back-to-back on Keep Trade Cut, because T. Higgins is much better than Jalen Waddle, is T. Higgins, when he's played this year, has actually fucking produced.
Yeah. The difference is obviously
when he's out there on the field and he's like, T. Higgins is starting, he's a full go, he's healthy, whatever the fuck it is, he goes out and he gives you a wide receiver 2 or a wide receiver 1 week.
Sure.
Done deal. Like, he just does. Jalen Waddle goes out there fully healthy and gets, no catches up until the end of the fourth quarter, and then catches a touchdown pass and then runs the ball back like negative 70 yards. Fuck. What are we doing? What are we doing? So at least T scores points when he's healthy. I just can't tell you when that's going to be.
It don't matter. You got to move. You've got to move these guys, though. Like, it's just, I don't know. Mike, are you really waiting on this T. Higgins thing right now?
Yes, because I just so dug in.
All right.
I'm not saying it's the right thing, Adam.
But you're admitting to everybody that it's probably flawed logic, right?
It's probably flawed logic, but at this point, I'm like, fuck it. All
right, so then answer the question as if they're not Glass brothers and it's Jalen Waddle for everyone.
Yeah, move this motherfucker. Bye. See ya.
You taking Mooney straight up?
Not straight up.
What are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Give it another 2 weeks if Darnell Mooney's still cooking and I'm like actually first or second place in this league and I got Jalen Waddle. I'll do a dirty, gross contender move and take
Mooney a third.
I'll take Mooney straight up at that point.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Give it another couple weeks because with players like Darnell Mooney,
there's no value insulation. There's zero value insulation.
There's zero value insulation, and we've been in this position before where we've had a good 8-9 weeks. And then literally do nothing for the second half of the season. Like nothing. Like they fall off a cliff. And you're like, what the fuck happened? What?
The only way that happens for Mooney, though, is that there's an injury catastrophically to either him or a key piece like a Cousins, and they put in Penix or something. Like
he doesn't look his way at all. Yeah.
Right. So I get what you're saying, though. And the reality is, listen, the way receivers are getting hurt, God forbid, we don't need any more, but it could be Mooney tomorrow. Yeah, this is it. Get it while you're here, boy, because all the hype don't feel the same next year, boy. All right, A.J. Brown and Swift or Puka and Aaron Jones in half PPR?
Dynasty League, I'm taking Puka and Aaron Jones.
I was going to ask you again. We get a couple of days cooled off on there's no severe damage by the MRI. How are you feeling about A.J. Brown today versus Sunday?
He's producing much fancier T. Higgins. He pisses me off to no end. That's
fucking crazy.
He pisses me off.
I love it.
I'm happy he's on the Eagles, but then I'm also very frustrated and pissed off. And it's the same way on my fantasy teams. Like, bro, one catch and then you're just fucking hobbling to the locker room? Come on. Come on.
What happened with Puka this week, though, is the only thing that I'm getting ready to ask you.
Well, that one, the targets weren't there at the beginning, but then he threw a punch. Like, do you think he's going to throw a punch every game?
I'll tell you, his punch hit me just as hard as the A.J. Brown thing. They fucked me. Puka's all of a sudden like, here we go.
He did. He fucked you. But
he's on the bench in my best ball leagues, for God's sakes. What is this, Puka? I'm supposed to have you back. I think this is very close. I think this is extremely close. So it's not like, I don't think no one's winning this trade by leaps and bounds. I probably still actually lean A.J. Brown and Swift. Just because Cooper Kupp right now, not that Smitty's not a problem for A.J. Brown. I actually don't think they are. Like, I think A.J. Brown and Smitty are dope as fuck together. If anything, Smitty probably takes a little bit of a downgrade, less than we would like, when they're both healthy and out there. Puka and Kupp, like, to me, A.J. Brown's, like, Smitty's not a problem for A.J. Brown. Cooper Kupp's production can be a little bit of a hit for Puka Nacua, which is why I'd probably lean A.J. Brown and Swift. But if you want to go the youth route of Puka, I totally get that too. I think these are extremely close. I don't know what Aaron Jones' playoff schedule is, Mike. I know Swift's just kind of sucks.
Yeah. It's probably not very good.
Aaron Jones is? Okay.
Well, it's also the goddamn Vikings.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to tell you about that.
I don't want to be an asshole because it feels mean. But the Vikings every year feel like the biggest frauds in the entire world.
They also are about as fond of Cam Akers as I am. Mike, he's getting run out there, buddy. This Ty Chandler thing's fucking dead.
Their playoff schedule is the Falcons plus defense, the Bears plus defense, the Seahawks plus defense, and the Packers plus defense.
For context, you get the Hurts A.J. Brown stack. Is that leaning you to the A.J. Brown side?
I'd probably go A.J. Brown and Swift then, yes.
Yeah, if I'm getting the stack, I'm taking the other side. I think it's very close, so if you can get the stack, I'm doing that.
You also got to remember when we talk about A.J. Brown, I'm like a lover scorned.
Yeah, Mike's an Eagles fan, and he really does love A.J. Brown, but it's just every time he does that T. Higgins type thing, it makes him puckers his
very
anal.
angry.
It puckers his anal, you know.
What
are y'all buying Kelsey for?
Imagine T. Higgins being on the Eagles. How much I'd hate that son of a bitch. What would I buy Kelsey for? It's a tight end. No premium. I don't give a fuck.
I'll tell you what, Dirty Bird, if this was a super chat, I would pull up Warp on it. But just standard no tight end premium, 14 team is weird enough to make Kelsey probably more of a meaningful piece than I want to think about right now. I'm not telling you to go buy him. I'm not doing that. But
second.
What would you? Yeah.
Contender second.
Something that's not getting it done is what my answer is. A second, yeah, like a mid-second at best. Like if you're telling me in a start 9, you can get Kelsey as your anchor tight end in this playoff run for even someone else's 206 to in 14 team, Mike, if it ends up being by the time you get to mid-second, it's already 2 picks later in a 14 team. Yeah, it has to be a second that I don't think is going to be early. If it's not a second that's early, I think that's what I would send. But like, there's no. Tell me what it costs to go get Kelsey in this league, though, Dirty Bird. Tell me what like the probable asking price is. I bet you it starts with a first.
He said late second and a depth piece.
Oh, it's a smash. Yes, that would be a smash. Correct.
I'd do that. Yeah,
for sure. But that's for sure. I don't know what the death piece actually means. I feel like sometimes those are.
I feel bad for coming at him with such negative energy. Like I ain't fucking trading for a tight end and 14 team no preview. When the price is this.
the only thing about 14 team you got to remember, Mike, is right now in 12 teams, people are scrambling for starters, myself included in certain leagues. So the down tier in a 14 team, oh my gosh, do you know how many teams are probably looking at starting? Like, remember how bad you felt about starting QJ this last week? What if that's like their wide receiver 2 and they got to figure out 2 other receivers? You know, like fuck, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, that second and a depth piece might look better for Kelsey than you think. I mean, yeah, that's easy though, guys. That's easy, man.
Yep.
I'm doing that in a hurry. Okay, I got a couple other questions for Michael. But how bad do you have to pee? Is the big question.
We're getting there.
All right,
we're getting there. It's past 10 o'clock. The bladder tightens up.
Yep, the old sphincter. Both ends.
Getting old.
Okay, here are my questions for you. I got a few.
All right. I got you.
Right now, Dynasty. Rome Odunze or Zay Flowers?
Zay Flowers.
Rome Odunze or Jaden Reed?
Oh, Rome Odunze.
Rome Odunze or JSN off of a pop week?
Crazy for some people, but Rome Odunze.
Okay. Rome Odunze or a first in 2 seconds.
12 team.
Yep, 12 team, generic first. Let's call it not a guaranteed late, but a playoff in contention piece, and let's call it 2 seconds random.
Give me the picks.
Okay.
Give me the picks.
Mike's already in middle of week 9. Got that. What a lot of people can't handle they think you're overvaluing picks like crazy. I'm not telling you you're wrong, for the record. I like when you answer it that way because they're getting ready to get big mad. Like, what?
What are you doing?
All right, let's ask you a couple other things then. Would you rather have Rome in a first or let's go ahead and let's push it. Let's push the envelope. Rome in a first or Puka?
Give me Rome in the first.
Okay.
Classic
Rome in the
team.
first. Rome in the first. Or Nico getting ready to return.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Rome in the first.
Woo. I didn't expect you to go there. Okay. Are you not buying per se how do I put this? Are you not buying Nico coming back and being a difference maker, or are you just the process play of having the extra piece with a Rome?
Both. Process play with the first with Rome. Rome's pretty good prospect.
Sure.
The first is the process play. But the thing with Nico, that hamstring thing always scares the shit out of me, especially when you go on IR for a hamstring for multiple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is one like little tweak away, one like misstep away from being like,
Sure.
See you again. Like, and when you see him again, you're done for the fantasy football season. In reality, oh fuck, lost cause then.
Okay, here you go. Your contender. You are a contender, right? Trent's asking.
Yeah.
Chase Brown in a second or Rome?
Rome.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Okay, DK or Rome? Straight up.
Ooh. Give me Rome because I think I have more outs.
Worried about DK after a week? All right.
I'm not worried about DK, but the community doesn't like DK as a whole, right? Like they're so ready to write this fucking guy off.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have more outs with Rome because I can always go back to, he's a rookie. He was a rookie.
Yeah.
What'd you expect? He was a rookie.
Yeah.
Like DK's having a good year and people still aren't going crazy about him.
Well, look at Garrett Wilson and look at Drake London. I think is the
There you go.
that's to me. If you're doubting Rome, I think you should already go look at what Rome's doing right now and checking boxes to do compared to what Drake London and Garrett Wilson did. And if you're getting ready to panic sell, or I shouldn't even say that, if you're just getting ready to get off because you need players and you need assets because you're trying to go win, I think you do yourself a disservice to not go kind of look at that historically, take yourself out of the, just pause for a second, think about it. With what we're looking at there, Mike, just so you can have the reference to, this is wide receiver 11 and 12, respectively, on Keep Trade Cut. The players ahead, Brian Thomas Jr., Puka Nacua, Marv, Nico, Amon-Ra, CD, Malik Neighbors, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. That would be a list of the who's who's, okay? That's it. It's America's fucking, if it wasn't for the Cowboys, that would be America's fucking team, you know? So I think right now, especially coming off of a week of 100 yards, I feel like people are probably looking at like, all right, this is my chance to sell Rome. This is my chance to move Rome. I'd be careful. I'd be real careful. Yeah. I'd be real careful about making a hasty decision is all I'll say about it. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Mike, he had a good week, but guess who had a much better week? JSN. It's a real question. Where are you at? You said Rome, right?
Rome.
But by a nut hair or something?
Yeah, and I've been a JSN like
Stan.
Yeah, JSN like why are we panicking on him? You know, he's gonna have his moments, but Rome's a better prospect.
Yeah.
Rome's a better prospect.
Let me ask you on JSN. He was going to be the last person I get to, so it's funny that this is up. JSN, right now. Man, it's funny how this kind of goes to the Rome discussion because, Mike, I feel like we were a week of Jackson Smith and Jigba not doing that away from people getting to fuck this guy. That I love Dynasty, buddy. And that is why I love Dynasty, because we were a week away from, man, fuck this JSN share that I've been sitting on. Like, you guys can have this. People were getting ready to sell him light as hell. Like
people love the fact that he gave a wide receiver 1 overall weeks from their bench.
I will say, what's crazy is I saw some people start him that like, and they made some decisions to start him that were like, all right, like I'm not gonna say you're going on a limb because I get it, but you're sitting some players that are not, you know.
Adam, I got a team. I got a team that he was on my bench.
Did you?
He was on my fucking bench for wide receiver 1. Yeah, I ended up starting Chris Olave and Drake London, so that really worked out fucking real well for me in that league.
Well,
great. I had a good time.
I can tell you that, like, when you get a wide receiver 1 week, what that means is that there is no one that it would have worked out for. JSN was the right play.
This was my problem, man. The team was so deep with wide receivers that I was starting Malik Neighbors, Olave, Drake London, Devontae Smith, and Brian Thomas. I didn't have a place for JSN to wedge him in.
Did you win or lose the week?
I'm pretty sure I lost.
Damn.
Yeah.
Are you out of the mix because of it, or is it was that like a devastating loss? Okay.
No, I mean most of these people suck.
Right.
This is a team, Adam, that I wasn't supposed to be contending. You know, built all this draft capital. That's why I have these juggernaut wide receivers. I wasn't supposed to be contending, and yet here we are. You know, Jaden Daniels and Neighbors, massive hits. My running backs going into the season didn't look good. You know, it was Tank Bigsby and Jaleel McLaughlin and Zach Charbonnet, and you know, I had this kid Tyrone Tracy sitting on my taxi squad for far too long.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you're sitting here and you're in like 5th place, and you're like, oh.
Nah, shit'll break. Listen, Mike and I have had both some shit just break right for the teams that are stacking the correct assets, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, well, you guys are gonna have fun when I pivot this thing, so you do it.
Doing all this with Rashee Rice on injured reserve feels good.
Let me ask you this though: do you think wide receiver 20 is appropriate, man?
No, it's gonna go higher.
Well,
should be higher.
Should it?
Yes. JSN or Rashee Rice. It's JSN.
Rashee, okay.
JSN.
He should be I think he should be ahead of Rashee and Jaden on this list.
Yes.
So let's call it 18.
Easily.
Okay. Yep. But fine. Wide receiver 18. Do you think that's appropriate? Like,
wide receiver 16 feels right. You know, or 17. Sorry, I got to put Rome up there.
Who's the other one I'm missing? Jaden Reed, Zay.
Unless
or not Zay. No, Jaden Reed, Rashee Rice. I got him at 20, so that would put him at 18, right? Put him ahead of Jaden Reed, put him ahead of Rashee, and then I think I stop.
I got him at 19 right now, and he's behind.
Oh, is mine updated?
Reed, and just hit that refresh.
I'm still looking at. Okay, he passed. Oh, Olave and Tyreek are plummeting. I apologize. Okay, I get it. All right. So wide receiver 17. Does that feel appropriate or too high for you?
17 feels right.
Man. I'm struggling with 17 prices, buddy. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
I love
17 feels right.
I love seeing what he did. We were the back half of the game. We were doing recap. I went back and watched it. Listen, I'm a JSN guy. I've been high on JSN. I bought shares what felt like cheap. What I'm saying now is the difference for me here is that JSN, I'm not telling you that you can't be bullish and believe in the player continuing to thrive. For me, 17 feels about like, all right, JSN, you've been my dog. We've had some good moments. Not as many good moments as I would like to have had, frankly, at this point, and I'm ready to get off of the stop because the pivot here feels very, very nice, frankly. We're going into year 3. I'm not telling you he couldn't be awesome in the second half, but buddy, I feel like we're getting to dangerous territory here now. We're getting to Smitty. We're getting to Zay. We're getting to, like, these are the guys that are doing that, just not all these dud weeks in between.
Mm-hmm. More consistent.
More consistent, but realistically, most of them have more boom.
The downside with JSN is listen, at 17, he's like the lead dog in like the next tier of wide receivers, and that's always a bad
That's my point.
position to be in. You know,
and Rome feels very much. That's my difference right now. These two were the ones that I wanted to kind of get off of today, where I think the conversation is very much they're in the same range. I feel like realistically, Rome has so much more insulation in this area than does JSN right now.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's my spiel. It's my spiel.
We'll take he has off. It, and it's like fucking because he only has a half season versus a season and a half.
Right. And we don't.
That's wild.
Yeah. How nasty are you willing to go with Olave? Got a 9-0 squad trying to move off of him. He's got 6 concussions since college.
Dude, throw Chris Olave in the fucking Jalen Waddle T. Higgins discussion.
He's a sexier version. I'd want a little bit more, but he's in the same ilk.
And should you actually want a little more?
Well, you should, but are you going to get it? You know,
no. I think his is scarier. Like in reality, these guys are missing time because they're their quad hurts. You know, they're sick on game day. This dude's got major brain injuries and just took a massive fucking shot. Like, scary as shit.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, the Garrett Wilson, I was reading a comment. No, the Olave thing is scary, man. And the scary part is that, like, he also doesn't have a quarter. All this stuff is regardless of the fact that he still has had a problem with just getting the correct quarterback play to really warrant the price in general. You know, so
like Jalen Waddle and T. Higgins at least have quarterbacks at this very moment.
That's my point. Like, say what you want, but Tua is a guy that can get Jalen Waddle going. Joe Burrow, we already know, we've seen with T. Like, Chris Olave is going into a situation where Derek Carr might. I don't actually know that this is the case, but he could get benched. There could be some change going on in New Orleans. Even if there isn't, we've seen what this is. Like, it's not the greatest.
Yeah,
I'm willing to get nasty to the point.
That Darnell Mooney discussion comes into play.
Okay, Chris Olave. Is it Darnell Mooney in a second? Is it Darnell Mooney in a third? Is it like?
I think you started Darnell Mooney in a first and see what happens. But if you can't get that,
but Stro, this is the best $4.99 you ever spent in your entire life. If you get a first with Darnell Mooney for Olave, because that would be a smash. That'd be a smash.
I'll give you a couple other. Terry McLaurin straight up.
Somebody would do that in a hurry. For
Think
sure.
So? Yep.
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin straight up.
People that are rebuilding that have Terry, Mike, if they still have him, like, they're looking for that type of a return. You know, they're looking for a big return.
Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans.
I mean, those are easy. Evans meant not as much because of the hammy. Like
Devontae Adams straight up.
I would do Adams. I feel like the Adams one is too easy. I feel like people just haven't got around to it yet, maybe. Where is he on Keep Trade Cut? Let's see how gross this is, actually.
Cedric Tillman in a first.
I'm in. Can I tell you why? That doesn't even have to account for Cedric Tillman. I feel like if I'm getting a first for Olave, I'm already kind of at a safe zone.
Yep.
You give me Tillman as the grease? Oh, jeez, buddy. That's not even nasty. I got enough there to have someone else change that oil for me. You know, I'm good. Let's get 2 more questions. We'll ride. Rome plus 201 and a 26-second or Brian Thomas Jr.
Rome in the 201.
I was going to ask you Rome straight up for BTJ, and you're probably at BTJ, right?
BTJ, yes. Just because he's producing like a monster I love the guy.
Yeah, I think market-wise and production-wise, it would make sense to take BTJ. I think if you just gave me one of these seconds, I would take the Rome. You give me like if it was Rome and a 25-second, Mike, I would take Rome.
Yeah, and I actually read that trade as Rome and the 201 or a 26-second in BTJ, and I still said Rome and the 201.
There you go. Yes,
Like,
this
that
one is
doesn't
like
even factor in. You get both of them. Yeah,
and I
Rome
think
and the 201.
and that feels like for me. Now, not many people have a Brian Thomas Jr. to really play around with. We're hurting at receiver here. But if you had the luxury to even think about something like this, like, because you know what's crazy? You can flip a 201 and in that 26-second maybe for Terry.
Yeah. Yep.
Fuck me. And now you have Rome, and you just put Terry in for BTJ. You take the production out. That's Terry. And you get to sit on Rome, who in a long-term play might be just every bit as valuable as a fucking BTJ straight up. So that's where you get to have your cake and eat it too. That one's easy for me.
Little spoiler alert on Terry. Do you want to take a guess where he is in Warp for the last since week 3?
Oh, taking out weeks 1 and 2?
Yep.
Inside the top 10. I'd say like wide receiver 7.
Not bad guess.
What do we got? 3? Okay. I mean, I knew it was going to be high. I didn't want to be like
cooking.
I didn't want to say 5. I was gonna say 5, and then I was like, "Just give me 7."
Do you remember a couple AMAs ago when I said Terry McLaurin's worth first? People were like, "You're fucking stupid, Mike. Go fuck yourself."
Yep, I do.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
I think Pepperidge Farm and others remember. I feel like people still are not ready to give up on that one. Last question is the complete opposite flip. Mike, are you just cashing out at the 103 and 25?
103 might be a pretty good cash out, to be honest.
The reason this one doesn't feel as like surefire as is because of the classes court. So I feel like, all right, I'm getting probably a similar bet. Just I don't have to worry.
Call it Burden or Tet. You
right.
know, like what's the difference between them and Rome?
You know what the difference is? I feel like the reason I would probably still take the 103, and the reason I'm kind of like a little bit hemming and hawing when I think about it, I just get Rome reset, it feels like probably.
There you go.
So that's why I take the 103. Because Rome right now he's on the trajectory. If he had a good second half, you're going to hate that trade. Frankly. You're going to hate that trade because he's going to be into untouchable range. The problem is there's very good chance, Mike, with as you talked about earlier, speaking of Pepperidge Farm, remembering Shane Waldron, this whole offense, Caleb, Tyson Badgett maybe, like that you'd rather the 103. So I think I'd take the 103 there. It's a lot more flexible. And I'm not the most flexible guy. Let's tell you that. Calisthenics was never my thing. You know.
I'm pretty good at everything but the left hip flexor. I struggle with that one.
That was the whole. That was what I was talking. You were talking about prison, like something like that have when you let the hip flexor, it'd be all of it. So just be careful.
I still do good with the bend over. You know, downward dog. Like I'm fine there. It's just you got to really stretch out that left hip flexor. Not the most flexible. You know? Yeah,
my hip flexors as well as other things have a problem. I'll give you Odunze or Wan'Dale Robinson in the flex. Speaking of flexibility,
I'm playing Odunze. I ain't playing fucking.
I'm playing Odunze because I don't know. Wan'Dale's just not my thing. If I'm gonna be inflexible, it'll be for a Rome.
Yeah,
that's all we got. That is all we got. Boom. We appreciate everybody being here. That's 2 hours, man. We roll through, not quite, hour and 48, but we roll through 2 hours like it's nothing, bro. Like it's absolutely fucking just nothing.
We plug the podcast feed, all right? We got a lot of dope creators on there.
Plug it up.
Maddie and I brought back 4D chess, having a good time. This week I ended the episode with a Hanson song. You know, the Hanson song. I don't know if Hanson has anything more than like one song.
Well, the way you phrased it, because I haven't listened to it yet. Plan to listen to it tomorrow. I'm like, wait a minute.
I even threw in a baseball reference and a baseball song in there, you know, midway through the episode. Went in my bag. No. You have to check it out, man.
Well, I will. I just was asking a question. War? Is it war? Like, that's a baseball reference, isn't it?
No.
Okay. All right. Fair.
I don't talk about that.
That's what I know. That's baseball reference.
I hit you with the Vince McMahon. I don't talk about that. We'll go check out the podcast feed. South Harmon Fantasy Football. wherever you get your podcast. If you do me a favor too, if you do check it out, rate and review, motherfuckers. You know, I don't even care if it's a 1-star, but I prefer a 4 or a 5. But if you just fucking do something, please.
Hold on. Dirty Bird, I know you're still around here somewhere. I know you're still around here somewhere. And if you're still tapped in, we appreciate you. And you knew the over was a lock. I think he might have hit 6.5 on the Spotify podcast feed plug. That's all we got, man. But yeah, you should check it out. We have if you're not tapped into the YouTube channel, if you're watching this on X,
Speaking of which,
check us out on YouTube. Check us out on.
Talk about over-unders, Adam. I swear to God, if I go and I look and Kyrie Irving still has 15 fucking points, I'm going to lose my mind.
Mike is like, I'm not even waiting until.
I bet the over on 29.5 points and assist. This motherfucker finished with 19. Fuck you, Kyrie.
Hey, Mike. I was
he
meaning
had
to tell
15
you.
points in the first quarter.
I was meaning to tell you. Well, Kyrie is like, Mike. You remember the microwave thing on 2K? That's Kyrie. He could heat it up and cool it down pretty quick. Listen, man. I know you're getting into the gambling thing. Let me just tell you, as a person that's been in and heavily in and currently just watches, if it can go wrong, it for me it tended to and will go wrong. So just
Bullshit. It's a push for the night. I won the Jalen Suggs over under, so we're good.
That was a great bet. So there you go. Now you just paid the juice, right?
That's it.
That's what the house wants. He's the K-man. That's what the house wants, and that's all we got. We'll see you back here, same time, same place next week. Mike was trying to get us to 2 hours, and his damn self. We're out of here. Peace.